and welcome back everyone, Laure here, and I was joined with kaSing ahead of his game against Misfits today. Thank you for joining me, kaSing. I'm so sorry because we didn't have time to talk about your victory yesterday. You took down SK Gaming and on paper they looked stronger than you, so how did you make this one happen?
I think this came down to our practice being much better. Like the past 1 week, I would say, or 2 weeks, we tried to make the changes. I felt like our first month of playing, I just didn't feel like we were improving that much, right? And it showed in our games on stage. Like maybe our early game would be good, but then our mid lane game was just pretty shit. And I think it comes down to one, our structure. I felt like we didn't have much actually of a structure. I mean, we're still technically new, right, to LEC Split, and I felt like I came into Spring Split knowing that we will face these kind of problems, but of course, how we deal with them is basically the faster we deal with them, then the better our results will be. And I felt like if we had had this kind of setup from now, since the beginning, I feel like we'd be a much better team.
And you look better now, actually. Do you feel like the fact that the playoff race looks more like a miracle run for you makes it easier to perform because you don't have that much pressure on you?
I mean, honestly, it's like my goal has been literally playoffs since the beginning for Spring Split anyway, and of course we're going to try our hardest to just pretty much improve. I feel like at the moment, of course, playoffs looks pretty unlikely unless like every other team basically loses and wins in favor of ourselves, but I feel like that's quite unlikely. So I think right now we're just looking to improve every game from now on for Summer Split.
The league is pretty stacked right now anyway, and everything is possible. You have the best team underperforming. You had G2 losing to
Yeah.
I didn't expect this to happen. And you'll be facing Misfits later. They've been playing on and off, let's say. Do you feel like you can take them down, and how?
Actually, I think our style matches quite well against Misfits. I feel like Misfits are not that proactive as a team, so us as exceL, like technically we're the underdogs or whatever, right? But in the end, as us 5 players, I feel like we're like just much more proactive than Misfits. So I feel like we'll get a lead no matter what.
Well, I wish you good luck on that. Thank you for your insights. And back to you guys.
Stylistic mismatch, kaSing thinks right there. Now, the race for playoffs keeps getting closer, and one team that can create chaos is that exceL roster, but against Misfits, I'm not quite sure where they start, Vedius.
Well, that's one of the big things. We've got to highlight that exceL are on track to getting their first 2-0 week of the split. They looked really impressive yesterday because their win wasn't just through crazy picks or crazy plays. It was actually pretty standard. We saw some really solid team fighting. We saw expeC having a really solid performance on Renekton, and I just feel like that the whole team just kind of came together.
Yeah, and it was really about that top side of the map. We mentioned expeC, you know, he had some crazy numbers on the Renekton, but it was also how cleanly they played around Caedral and Special. I talked about him at the top of the day, you know, playing that Zoe, and what we thought was going to be kind of an exchange of exceL, we know what we get, we don't know what we get from Special. Suddenly you have all of this arsenal that exceL have to play with.
Yeah, but we really wanted to bring attention to this man on your screen. expeC really has been one of the best performing players of this squad pretty much throughout the entirety of the split, and his Renekton yesterday was fantastic, and that's going to be a scary thought for Misfits because when we throw back to the last time they played, it was expeC that actually secured that Baron for them, allowing them to get that win.
Yeah, the sick Urgot steal by having the unsealed spellbook. He managed to swap it over to the smite and then use the disdain flash right on time. And we talked about kind of the inconsistencies of Misfits because these, of course, are the opponents on the other side. I think coming into this, before people saw exceL yesterday, I know I was very high on the Misfits train. I was like, they've got to get it together. You know, eventually it's going to click for them.
It has to.
But now I'm like, you know, exceL, they took down SK. SK, they took down G2. I'm all about the exceL train.
Through the transit of properties.
Do rock,
exceL.
paper, scissors.
Yeah, exactly that. And I'm personally not as bought into the exceL hype. I think that SK really underperformed yesterday. And while it was a big win for exceL, I still feel like that they rely on certain aspects to go right in order to find success. And today could be the day because we do still have some skepticisms around Misfits. One of the big ones was actually their draft, looking at how things played out yesterday. We weren't really a big fan of the Urgot, were we, for us?
It kind of felt like Moose came on. He was like, it's 9.3, right, guys?
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
No, it was 9.4. It was a blind pick Urgot. But I don't think you make that mistake twice.
Yes, that's what I think.
But the concern then is like about the Sylas pick. So, you know, if you look at someone like Misfits, they don't seem to be prioritizing the Sylas as high as other champions. There's also the fact that Febiven still feels very attached to the likes of the Aurelia, went for the blind pick Orianna the last time around. And I'm kind of curious if, not that there's champion pool issues, but if maybe there's just a little bit of pushback on not grabbing what is kind of the most immediate in vogue or in meta for LEC.
Yeah, and I love what kaSing said early in the day as well, or just as we were coming off the interview, where he highlighted that he doesn't think Misfits is that proactive of a team, and I really have to agree with him, because I think one of the big issues I've had with this team is that they have an over-reliance on Baron in order to win games. I think that Maxlore isn't confident enough to actually create opportunities and make plays for his team, and the one thing you can say about exceL is even if they are underdogs, even if individually they're not as strong as a lot of the other teams, they will try stuff, and they will go for those plays, and if you're not on the ball, then they will catch you off guard, and I think they are one of the big teams to create a lot of upsets in our last few games of the split.
Well, we're going to see if Misfits are on the ball and see if they can bounce back against exceL as we leave it to Quickshot and Ender for picks and bans.
Thank you very much, Froskurinn. I'm going to turn my attention to exceL. Yesterday, they took down SK, who today took down G2. Therefore, by transitive properties, this weekend, exceL are better than G2. It's just how it works. It's how the stats line up.
And you know, Rogue beat exceL that one time, so does that mean they're then better?
No, it doesn't, because that was several weeks ago.
Okay.
Stay on topic.
My bad.
Also remember, exceL have a 1-0 head-to-head over Misfits. And obviously, you know, this weekend we've had some very crazy results, but you cannot deny the fact that yesterday, exceL picked a confident win. It is a very difficult road ahead if they want to make playoffs. But more importantly, if they keep picking up wins, play spoiler to teams like Misfits with all of the superstars on their roster, it is a phenomenal, phenomenal achievement for a brand new organization to this level of play.
Yeah, and Misfits would hate to be forced out of playoff contention by another team ranked below them in the standings, like spring of last year. That was when they got bumped out. They didn't have the head-to-heads in their favor, and they were not able to go on to the postseason. For this roster, as you said, they've had their struggles throughout the year. They came out hot, then they hit, you know, this really rough patch, and I think when the Moose came back in, they got their 2 wins. A lot of fans were thinking, this is the Misfits we were hoping to see. They're back on track, but after a questionable draft, I'd have to say yesterday, I think that those fans have much more tempered expectations.
Now we're in the draft today as Misfits are taking on exceL. Misfits had side selection. They chose blue side. Today was a little bit more mixed, a couple more blues thrown in. And as we get through phase 1, Sylas is open and available as a first pick option, but with Lucian banned away, Misfits are on board the Hunt Summer Hype train.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of power picks here, and Draven is one of those where we have a few AD carries in the league where if Draven is up, they will take it, and Han Sama is one of those players. You love to see him in the bottom lane, pair him with something like the Thresh or an All-Star, something that can go in and find these 2v2 kills, and you're gonna have a Misfits draft that just says all Misfits all day, all the time when you play through bot lane on a champ like the Draven.
What would you like to see exceL Esports run into
Galio.
this option? Galio already locked in. We've got an aggressive playmaker in Jarvan that could go jungle, could go top. And I need to see what Caedral's going to get his hands on, because he's really been the front man, the first guy to burst through the door and try to set up plays for exceL Esports.
Exactly. When exceL are winning, it is because of early game playmaking from Caedral. You heard it from kaSing. He thinks that his team with Caedral at the helm is way more proactive in the early game than this Misfits squad, and I think that they're building a composition to try and do that. You look at the likes of the Jarvan and the Galio, that is some pretty serious wombo combo here for exceL to try to punish some of these picks, like the Draven Morgana bottom lane, which you know is looking to dominate the 2v2, but if you bring 5 members down there to punish, they're not going to have too much fun.
No, definitely not. And I really like the tools that have already been secured on both sides. It kind of fits both options. Jeskla on a fairly comfortable, self-reliant AD in Ezreal. And we enter phase 2. So Karthus has been taken off the table. Potentially jungle bans being looked at on the side of Misfits Gaming. And what direction do you want to see these teams go as far as phase 2 and locking in?
Exactly. I'm specifically looking here at exceL because they have the option now, like deciding where does this Jarvan go. I have a feeling it's going to be in the jungle here for Caedral to give him some of that early playmaking potential.
Where would you think Sylas is going to end up? Febiven or sOAZ's hands? Because we have seen him flexed a couple times.
I like it much more in the mid lane. I think that you can avoid a lot of potentially rough early game matchups by just walking mid, using your shield to sort of clear away the waves, and then rotate like Nemesis was playing in that last game.
And with the Rise banned away, I think maybe that lends a little bit additional credence to that. Something we've expected as somewhat of a pick into it is the option I'll say with. All right, Irelia finds herself in the ban pool along with Karthus in phase 2 here for exceL, and the final ban is going to be locked in now for Misfits shortly. With that Olaf, by the way, gives me an indication that they're expecting the Jarvan to go top.
Yep, and here if I'm over on the side of exceL, I'm looking at a few different champions here in the mid lane for special. I think the Zoe would be fantastic here to sort of follow up some of the longer range engage here of the Galio plus the Jarvan, but also Yasuo, a pick that he has liked in the past that could really benefit from some of the knockups here that exceL have put together.
And of course the Renekton ban away because expect destroyed SK Gaming yesterday on that pick. So huge respect ban in the final phase here of the phase 2, and of course Syndra now locked in for special.
Yeah, the safe mid lane pick here for special because exceL, they're going to save counter pick for expect now. This is the player that sort of, you know, alongside Caedral, they will draft to give him early game advantages. They want him to be able to win inside of his lane. I mean, just look at the picks that he's played recently. It's been the likes of the Renekton, the Kennen, the Yorick, even the Jarvan a few games ago. So they're going to see here now where the Sylas is going to go because it's likely going to be top now for sOAZ.
Yeah, definitely anticipate that option. We are looking now for a jungle pick for Maxlore to confirm the draft, and I like some of the options. Sylas can steal the Cataclysm if he's going toe-to-toe with this Jarvan, and a slightly more early game option here in the Rek'Sai. So Misfits team composition's kind of screaming 1, 2 items and get ahead early.
This is a scary early mid-game comp here from Misfits. I think the Rek'Sai is so good at generating early game pressure alongside the likes of the LeBlanc. You can look for kills in this mid lane near the Syndra. You can also just go down bottom lane because Draven Morgana has so much damage. You just land one knockup, then you're bound for an eternity, and Draven's going to be able to cash in on some money.
Well, let's see what the final ban. There we go. Nocturne now secured. I see a lot of tools that say fight, fight, fight on both sides of the Rift. So what do you make of the team compositions as a whole?
Well, fight, 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 I agree with you, but for exceL, they need to wait for level 6. That's when they can maybe make some plays here with the Nocturne. Maybe you get that duo around this mid lane even. You have a lot of global potential with the Galio. Jarvan can even roam down and try to impact that mid lane because the best way to stop Hansama and Gorilla from dominating the 2v2 is not actually by ganking them. It's by taking control over mid lane so you can bring many more members down to the bottom side of the map and punish that duo pushing up.
All right, well, let's keep an eye if exceL can do it, because if any team is going to be able to have a jungle have an impact in one particular lane, it is Caedral that's going to do that. exceL Esports are looking for a 2-0 weekend, are looking for a 2-0 head-to-head over Misfits, and it can happen by shutting down Febiven and Hansama.
Absolutely can here, Trevor. On the other side of things, Misfits don't want to go down easily. They heard the words of slow early game. Maxlore's on the Rek'Sai and ready to make a difference.
Yesterday, exceL Esports took down SK Gaming. Today, my stats team ran the numbers, and out of 10,000 simulations for the rest of exceL's games, assuming they have 50-50 odds, 10 out of 10,000 scenarios get exceL to playoffs. It is out of their hands. They need other teams to lose as well, but it starts by taking down Misfits Gaming today. It starts by picking up their first 2-0 weekend. And now we're going to be jumping into the game as Misfits will look to stop the bleeding, will look to even up some of that win-loss column and go into the last 2 weeks of the split in the thick of the playoff race.
Oh man, I'm already liking what I'm seeing here. Off the bat, Misfits using the distortion to get into the enemy jungle now, while the rest of exceL actually crept in towards that tri-brush. I'm almost expecting some cheese here at the start because they're trying to trade red buffs, it seems.
And I'm gonna tell you this because we haven't had a chance to discuss it. I hate the word cheese. It's a personal thing. I love creative solutions. I love ingenuity in game, and I would praise it personally. Now, you're allowed to call it cheese yourself, just don't do it with me.
Look, I love cheese both on and off the Rift, Trevor. So I'm sort of an expert when it comes to this sort of thing. Oh man, exceL, they want Gorilla.
Dun 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 dun! Gorilla gets caught out! Defensive flash already! Summoning heal has been used. Gorilla's running for his life. Mystic shot! First blood! exceL Esports!
Oh man, what a start here for exceL. Not only do they get the kill, but they're going to have control over the red buff now, and Maxlore is going to have to leave the side of the jungle entirely.
What did it cost? 1, 2, 3 flashes on the side of exceL Esports for the flash and heal of Gorilla. Hansama, by the way, is running flash teleport Kleptomancy on Draven. Question marks around that one, and with a first blood going to his opposition AD, the bottom lane is going to be difficult.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be, especially because you're supposed to be slamming with this Draven Morgana lane. You're supposed to be able to do a lot, and as towards the Kleptomancy mentioned from you, this is something we actually saw a lot on Draven in the past, and honestly, he used old Conqueror way better than he does the new Conqueror. Even though you see that a lot on melee champions, it's not so great for Draven, and the Kleptomancy, of course, he's going to be able to just use pretty frequently by pressing his W repeatedly in lane, because that cooldown resets whenever you pick up an axe.
And we'll see what Hunt can do, because he's in a disadvantage now in the bottom lane. Compliments of that first blood. And the question is that the kill that Tilt is made of? It's very early on into the game. It's giving kaSing and Jeskla an early advantage, but importantly, Jeskla has not gone back to shop yet, so it hasn't equated into additional combat power in the laning phase.
But you have to think about how these teams actually wanted to play the game, because Misfits needed Maxlore to be pathing around the bottom side of the jungle. I honestly think he would have gone for like Red Crub Scuttle Crab and then seen if there was an opportunity to go for a gank or just vertical jungle and divide the map up so he was on the bottom side. Now he's top lane, and what's expect?
All right, here comes Rek'Sai, gonna unburrow, get the knock up on to expect defensive flash from sOAZ. Maxlore takes one shot, Maxlore takes two shots. It's a trade, 1-for-1.
Oh no, Maxlore ends up going for the trade. It's still going to be a first blood over towards him, and some minions denied there for expect, but not quite as clean as we've seen so far today. Maxlore just a little bit late to use the flash there. Wanted to see if he could hold on to it, and it ends up costing him his life.
Unsummer stepping forward a lot, really trying to maximize these Klepto pack stacks rather. kaSing down to 100 HP, but take a look at Caedral. He's coming in from behind. Got double buff available. Duskbringer will tag into Gorilla. That's one auto from Hunter. A second, the tower shot comes out. This will help Hunsummer. He gets an early cash in on the passive. Jeskla misses the Mystic Shot. Hunsummer will pick up blue buff, a kill, and back away.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to teleport back into the lane as well. So almost a really rough situation there for the Misfits duo, but Hunsummer ends up outplaying and trading 1-for-1, and he's going to be able to TP back to lane, but he's still down a whole heck of a lot of CS.
Okay, 9 CS to 27. The bottom tower has just lost a plate, but if we look at the gold disparity in this lane, it's 500 right now between Jeskla and Hunsummer. Of course, Jeskla also farming up with that Klepto, sitting on 1,600 gold. That is going to be a hugely powerful back for exeL once Jeskla can, and he's going to complete that shortly.
Yeah, and I just have to praise the early game here from Caedral and the rest of exeL to divide the map like this. Now notice, Hunsummer and Gorilla, as they should be, hard smashing in this 2 versus 2, but Caedral knows there's no flash on towards Gorilla, so he can set up the fear now and let Jeskla come in for the kill. Unfortunately, he steps a little bit too close in range of the tower. Hunsummer gets the kill and then has the clean dodge right there on the Mystic Shot from Jeskla.
And hugely important, because of the teleport that Hunsummer's running, he's evened out that CS. The minion wave did not get denied to the tower. So he's clawed back up in terms of gold and CS, and now actually with a little bit of uncontested time, gets this first plate very, very low. May actually just be able to cash in, and he does. Even threatens a spinning X auto underneath the tower, which I thought was a little bold.
Yeah, I mean, that was really impressive there from Hunsummer. Really good for him, at least, because he gets the solo money on that turret plating. Just knows he has Maxlore sort of waiting in his pocket in case Jeskla and the rest of exeL did want to go in, but now Misfits are more comfortable. They have the lanes, they have the junglers more specifically in a position that they wanted them to be. Maxlore hovering around this bottom side. He doesn't know that there's a ward here in the river, so he's actually setting up to come from behind kaSing and Jeskla. This is something that a lot of Rek'Sai players will do because ganking on this champion is so unique. And now we'll pop on out, see what camps are up, and knowing that there's no camps available, expects Caedral to be on the top side of the map.
Look at the mid lane as well. Febiven has already left, Special backed away, and is now just getting to his tower to defend it. Caedral will get into place, and I really appreciate that kaSing and Jeskla respect the potential dive. They had all the information to work with, and they backed away in time, but it is costing plates.
Yeah, I mean, the respect is definitely necessary, but unfortunately with a level 5 Caedral, they're not going to be able to make a play down here on this side of the map, and Misfits sort of got away with murder right there as Caedral pops over the wall.
All right, here comes kaSing. He's going to look for the taunt.
Ooh.
Spell Shield's going to be on Gorilla. Hunsummer forced to flash. Summoning Heal is available for Gorilla. It has been used. The tick away from Ignite. Hunsummer's low. One more shot's all it's going to need. Not going to be able to land just yet. There's the dust Caedral with the swag finish.
Caedral says he doesn't even need level 6. He's going to use the blast cone and make the plays happen himself. Very nicely done from exceL, and we continue to see them play around this bottom lane and just shut Hansama and Gorilla down.
All right, is there a potential tower dive here? Now Gorilla's in trouble. He's running away from his tower. Caedral's farming up Krugs. Hansama's going to make his way back. No teleport available. And Maxlore in passive will sense out Caedral's positioning. And of course, with Caedral and Maxlore both showing on the screen, talk just a little bit about this matchup and some of their stats. We'll get to that straight out of this replay.
Yep, watch this again from Caedral. He doesn't know if Rek'Sai is in the area at this moment, but he says he doesn't care. He's going to be able to impact this lane first. And Gorilla uses a great black shield, but it's on to himself, and Hansama doesn't use the flash sooner to dodge away from that CC. You can't help but feel like there's some miscommunication. And then in this play, I mean, Gorilla does a great job of blocking the Mystic shots, but you can't quite block the shadow of darkness that comes out of Caedral.
Now, I don't even know if Hansama could have sidestepped it or not, but as I was mentioning just before the replay, Caedral versus Maxlore, you can take a look at some of the kills plus assists at 15, as well as the kill participation. Notice the gigantic difference between Caedral and Maxlore. 82% kill participation at 15 minutes for Caedral. It really just keeps telling the story of how important he is to the team, and you can see it from plays like that down the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, this guy goes ham in the early game, and you can see it too, because it's not always that you see, you know, pre-level 6 Nocturnes actually making plays work for their lanes, but it was very well set up from Caedral, who knew his bot lane was in a tough position, rotates down and ends up getting that kill for himself. And it's also just exceL just putting him in a good position to perform well in this match, because something we don't often talk about is actually the jungle matchup in terms of champions. And one thing that Nocturne can do is just actually trade pretty well against Rek'Sai, you know, when they get into these skirmishes in the early mid game, which is not something that a lot of champions can say for themselves, because Nocturne just gets so much AD when he tosses down the Duskbringer. When he's sitting on that, he gets a whole lot, and then the fear is very important in the 1v1.
Plus a spell shield as well, and it's really a lot of tools that help him out. And, you know, there's been so much action in the bottom lane. You can see the CS is now about even. Jeskla 201 got himself a fair item, you know, a fair number of items already. Looking at the mid lane, Merctrade's picked up for Febiven's LeBlanc. He's got the double dark seal, even on CS. And up in the top lane, sOAZ has been able to extend that CS lead despite some early trades. His Sylas is now starting to pull ahead, and he's getting into a comfortable position.
Yeah, Maxlore waiting right here. He has the flash up, so even though Jeskla has the Arcane Shift, he's not entirely safe. exceL do know that Maxlore is here because of the control ward and some nice vision in the river, so they know exactly whenever Misfits are trying to make this sort of a play. And actually, because Maxlore was burrowed, he didn't even see the control ward behind him. So if he does go for a play down here, Expect can teleport and enter into the fight.
Caedral's got Paranoia available to him. Looking at the minimap, remember Galio's not level 6
Oh,
yet.
he doesn't even see it.
Caedral didn't spot him, but the dragon is going to be moving away because, of course, as soon as Maxlore burrows over the wall, the dragon will go after the nearest opponent or the nearest champion to attack. And in that scenario, it was Caedral. So Maxlore wisely backs away. And we're seeing a roam now from sOAZ towards mid lane.
Yeah, sOAZ going to walk over a ward, though. So Febiven is trying to trade in mid lane, and sOAZ doesn't have an ultimate just yet. He's probably going to try to pick up the Syndra one, if any, but now has to go back and pick up the top wave. I do want to bring up exceL's vision control at the moment, though, because they have a lot of forward control wards. I mean, just look inside of this river. They're setting up protection because they've seen Misfits trying to roam down bottom lane so frequently. That control ward up above mid lane as well is very important because it makes sure that Special can't be sort of collapsed upon from this area of the map where most of the time it's just going to be darkness for exceL.
Well, let's see what happens with Special in this mid lane, because yesterday he played the Zoe into SK, if I recall correctly. 7-1-5, 33% damage share, 75% kill participation, and of course Special came in as a substitute for exeL, and he really stepped up yesterday, finding his feet, finding his groove. He's got the Syndra even on CS into the LeBlanc, and his ultimates can be game-changing into a number of very squishy targets.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely popping off yesterday, and that's why I was sort of a little sad not to see him go for something along the likes of that Zoe one more time. Right now, he's just trying to pair up with Caedral and take some more control himself. And actually, look at what exceL have done. They went for a reset down in bot lane because they knew the 2v2 wasn't going super great when they don't have jungle pressure, so they want to play now for the Rift Herald while Hansama trades for plating down bot.
All right, Febiven will find some chains in a Special, doesn't get the secondary proc. Rift Herald will be secured shortly. This should go exceL's way. Paranoia to deny some vision, and we've got ourselves a fight. Hunt Summer's down in the bottom lane, though. He's pushing for the tower. Not going to be enough for a kill. Maxlore's able to escape. Oh, the flag drag dunk! Here comes exceL's expect, and he gets himself one. sOAZ running for his life. The tower doesn't even go down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, because Jeskla can just TP right back down there. Misfits started that one up, or tried to contest in a 4v5 situation without calling the TP in from Hansama. Of course, once the darkness goes down, you cannot use that summoner spell, and exceL end up getting away with everything.
Man, 700 gold advantage for exceL at 12 minutes. sOAZ fancies himself a shot, jumps on top of expect. No ultimate available to either top laner, and just the kit of Sylas is obnoxious to deal with in that scenario. So he's able to push expect back for now.
Yeah, and my favorite thing about that whole fight around the Rift Herald is sOAZ actually had the Paranoia. So when both Nocturnes press Paranoia, neither of them can see anything, so neither of them can actually use the second cast of their ultimate, which ended up being pretty funny.
Well, that's why nobody did, I guess so. Well spotted.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be looking at this now. So there's the Paranoia thrown down from sOAZ.
Everyone's nearsighted, no one can move.
Oh my word.
And you can see that right now Hansama is pushing down to the bottom lane. He can't TP in for 6 seconds while that Paranoia lasts, and a beautiful engage there from expect. exceL were able to sort of divide Misfits, so sOAZ was on the opposite side of the fight, and turns almost into a 5 versus 3 there for exceL.
Well, exceL Esports are at 13 minutes, just ahead of the Misfits composition. And I think that's a very important sign when you consider Rek'Sai, Draven, Sylas. This is a good position for exceL to be in. And it's one that they now need to transition. I mean, a 3-0-2 Ezreal with, you know, a tiers stacking and Iceborne Gauntlet already completed. Jeskla is going to be terrifying to deal with over the next 10 to 15 minutes, and he's been activated much earlier thanks to some great plays from exceL and Caedral.
Well, here comes a TP now from Hansama to get back into the bottom lane, and notice actually expect on the minimap walking all the way down from top into mid. They're going to crash the wave into the turret, pick up 1 plate here for expect, and then try to maybe walk that into a Cloud Drake because they have everyone here perched around mid.
All right, that's a stun onto Febiven. Paranoia will throw down the nearsightedness. That is being used by Caedral. Not going to get enough additional pressure onto the tower. While that's happening, Hansama and Gorilla will pick up the first tower of the game. Hansama secures out in the bottom lane. The turret plates have now timed out, but with the use of the Rift Herald, that's a tower kill in the mid lane. This will go the way of exceL. sOAZ manages to complete the TP before he's able to take down the top tower. It's a 1-for-1 trade. It is still control for the underdogs exceL.
Yeah, I mean, sOAZ actually almost just died there because while he was TPing, the minions around him died. He was tanking tower, and expect almost canceled that TP. So could have been a pretty dire situation right there for sOAZ and the rest of Misfits. But even though you say exceL have control, yes, they have control over the map, it would seem, but the gold is still relatively even.
So let's look forward. What does exceL need to do, or what should exceL be focusing on for the next 5 to 10 minutes?
I think they need to really be looking for sort of the 1-4 at the moment. What I mean by that is I want to see Caedral, Special, Jeskla, kaSing sort of all around this mid lane trying to set up vision around an objective. To me, that would be the bottom lane turret or the top lane turret. Right now, you have a Windrake down bot side, so I say set up in that southern quadrant of the jungle and use that pressure of the 4-man stack to try and create some sort of advantage because you have all of these fantastic ultimates to try and force engagement, and while you can take things slowly, I think you should be looking more often than not when those cooldowns are up and ready to use to actually set up the map for that type of a play.
Okay, we'll see if they can, because right now that Cloud Drake was just picked up by Maxlore solo. He's tried that several times. This time we'll be left alone long enough to actually secure the objective. He's got the Proto Belt, got himself a Haunting Guys picked up for the time being. Hansama with the Bloodthirster and a pickaxe continues to play very forward. Small CS advantage for Hansama. And there's no big setups just yet by exceL Esports, but Caedral's Paranoia will be up and available very, very shortly. And I wondered if he was going to fancy some sort of dive in the top lane. Instead, it's going to be a fight mid. Scan of the Week will just block and dodge Febiven to the side.
And you'll actually see both top lanes having a pretty big impact whenever they make this roam towards mid. Here goes Maxlore.
All right, Maxlore, Void Rush is available to him, not even going to get needed. sOAZ has thrown down the Paranoia. Will be diving all the way forward onto Caedral. The Fear comes out. Defensive flash from Caedral. That saves his life.
So close right there. Poor Caedral, rather, going down in that fight. Of course, Special just a few seconds seconds left on that flash, and it's a beautiful rotation there from Misfits. They got priority down in bottom lane. They call sOAZ to come on over and end up setting up a pretty nice play.
How much of a problem is it for exceL that Hans Summer seems to be uncontested in tower pressure? He's been shoving for 16 minutes, and nobody's really trying to go toe-to-toe.
Well, I mean, I think it's less about Hans Sama the individual than it is how these teams are playing the map, because a lot of times Hans Sama can go walk up, get the tower, but that's because exceL are doing things on the other side of the map. I think that was the first time where we saw they weren't actually doing anything else and Hans Sama went uncontested. But when Caedral is hovering around that duo lane of Jeskla and kaSing, that's when we see Hans Sama sort of being pushed in and not allowed to sort of exert any pressure in the 2 versus 2.
And of course, talking about Hans Summer, he just backed away from that tower, allows that cannon wave to just push a little forward. It means Jeskla needed to come up to answer. He's still doing very well. 2 items completed on that Ezreal, getting towards 2 item spikes. Fair number of members, both Luden's Echoes are completed in the mid lane. And special, his flash was available for all of 12 seconds.
Yep.
Literally instantly needs to go back. Febiven is hunting for a chance, and that's very, very proactive forward play from Febi. Not scared of the support Galio.
Not even a little bit. And right now, sOAZ, I really like what he's doing. He's using the power of Sylas to push these lanes, to create pressure and really give Special a tough time in the mid lane. I also think that this Sylas pick, even though it was taken so early on in the draft, is super useful here at denying exceL a lot of their opportunities. You can actually use the Nocturnal to make so kaSing can't use his own.
Well, let's find out what happens now in this bottom lane. Stopwatch has been used to buy some time. A little bit of a defensive play. sOAZ is running for his life. He gets the steal, the hijack, the cataclysm, turns it back around. Ladies and gentlemen, sOAZ Sylas. Now Caedral's in trouble. Febiven's going to lock him down with the chains. Kill secure will be donated to Febi with 1 pitiful auto attack. And Misfits, with a very confident passage of play, are now in control with 1,000 gold.
Yeah, they just read exceL like a book right there. They had control over the map, and Maxlore was just waiting right there the moment that exceL wanted to go in for the fight. Again, keep in mind that Expect goes right in alongside Caedral. All the damage gets blocked here by this good stopwatch, and now it's split. Caedral thinks, oh, I can't really commit because the rest of Misfits is on the way. But in this situation, you're just going to get run down and taken out. And you have to look at the rest of the map. Where's your team? Well, Ezreal's walking top lane. Syndra and Galio are getting pushed in mid lane because of the really solid pressure that Misfits applied just a few seconds ago. So that play comes sort of out of nowhere, and Misfits have the ability to just punish it and drop it dead.
Oh, such a difficult situation to be in. Stopwatch by sOAZ gives Misfits another series of kills. With all the time that Hans Summer's been farming up, he got his eye edge. sOAZ just got the Liandry's Torment. And just a reminder again, if exceL lose this game, they are out of playoffs. They have to win this game to keep the hopes alive, and even then, it is such a difficult scenario. And for a long time, the early game and the early proactive plays, I was super on board. I was getting excited for exceL. Now we're in this tentative part. Neither team truly has a significant advantage or control, and the next few minutes and the next few kills and objectives will heavily impact who wins this game.
Exactly, and I think it was really interesting because exceL very clearly had a super solid early game plan. They knew exactly how to shut things down, but then once they got that lead, they didn't quite know how to convert. Now you see Misfits are the ones with control over the map. Now that they're breaking down this middle lane turret, it's going to be so difficult for exceL to ever press forward because now there's no protection, and they have to keep their flanks warded very nicely because we know sOAZ and Maxlore are always going to be looking to sort of slip right in there and attack the back line.
And it's such a difficult situation. We could see Maxlore waiting in the wings, burrowed. He was able to threaten a Void Rush as well as spotting out enemies. sOAZ was able to steal away the Galio ultimate, so that could be game-changing in a big team fight. Febiven's able to poke down Expect, and now exceL are on the retreat. Mountain Dragon's up and alive, and Misfits will get control of the mid lane, take the tower, and now peel down to Drake.
Yeah, I mean, exceL, I like the idea from them trying to press down in towards the jungle, but Misfits do a good job sort of zoning them away, poking them out, and now with a Mountain Dragon, Mountain Drake, rather, at their back. They're going to be able to use that to apply even more pressure towards this dragon, because if we've learned anything from today, it's once a team gets an advantage and gets complete control over the Baron, what they're going to do is they're going to look to just sneak that away with a few members while the cooldowns of the blue trinkets, while there aren't wards on the sides of exceL. And the dragon, the Mountain Drake, makes it so much harder. It shortens the window where exceL have to look for the vision, because Misfits will just take it down burstly.
Yeah, they got all the damage to deal it, and obviously the bonus stats now. That's a good Dark Binding onto kaSing, but there's no follow-up. And I watched an interview with kaSing fairly recently where he said that, you know, in exceL, we know how to play the early game. We know how to play the laning phase, and the mid and late game, we're just struggling a little bit, and I consider myself responsible as the captain of the team. It was something that I really loved to hear and to watch, because there's self-reflection on that.
They're going in
We need
now.
to see if kaSing can make the right calls to help exceL. That's the engage they wanted. Now Maxlore runs for his life, survives long enough to need the Cataclysm. But here comes the engage. That's a turnaround 1-for-1 thus far. That's another kill for exceL. They're managing to do it. Febiven gets the double. That's more damage and more kills. Everybody is dying in the fight. So far it's a 3-for-3. But Febi and Hansama are not done yet. kaSing will survive a few seconds longer before Febiven takes him out. No mana on special. It is a matter of time before he gets hunted down. The ace for Misfits is on the cards as the adrenaline rush comes out. And expeL uses one last scatter the weak. Ender, can you finish this off?
Yeah, well, Hansama's actually going to take care of that one for us, Trevor. Hansama gets the ace, the delayed quadra kill for the Misfits AD carry. And now my question for Misfits is, because Special's death was delayed for so long, he's actually 30 seconds desynced in his respawn timer to the rest of the players in this game, really. So Misfits have a power play. They have 5 members on the map, and I would love to see them walk over towards the Baron.
I need to watch this replay again to see just how quickly it turned into Misfits' favor.
I mean, look, we needed exceL to force an engagement and go right on in, but it's actually this Galio ult that Sylas is holding on to. He can re-enter this fight and buy so much space for Hansama. Look, no one can touch Hansama because of the way the terrain is right here. expeL can't quite get around the corner, can't pressure down onto the Misfits AD carry, and now he can just train you down because there's no mana left on special to fight back.
It took so long to pick up the kill onto Maxlore that Misfits were just able to run down exceL. 5 kills secured, 5,700 damage dealt in that last fight. And if you are a Misfits fan and you see a first pick Draven, you get nervous. But when you see a team fight like that and a recovery from the early game, now you start to get excited.
Yo, that takes me back to 2018 Hansama, right? The Draven Morgana lane we saw so frequently from this player. Now alongside Gorilla, finally once again having another one of those solid performances. He came back last week, looked good, and now Misfits once again set up, poised for another very successful game.
And a lot of credit to sOAZ on the Sylas as well. Crucial ultimates have been game-changing. He's used Paranoias effectively. He used Cataclysm at the Dragon fight. He's managed to use Galio ultimate as well. Let's see if we can get a clean sweep and do one of each before the end of the game. sOAZ is now pushing down at the bottom. He's picked up another Cataclysm, and Misfits, with their 3,000 gold lead, pushing Vision deep into exceL's territory. And it's now up to exceL to play from behind, slow the bleeding, and try to buy some time to get back into this game.
Exactly, and you can just see how Misfits are waiting for blue trinkets to go down. They're actually going to end up resetting right now, but exceL have no idea what's actually going on, so walking forward to clear these wards is always very inherently risky, especially when you see the likes of a LeBlanc on the opposite side of the map. The champion just sort of pop forward, quickly burst you down. The champion doesn't really play like an assassin. It's more like a poke mage that gets in your face and tries to burst a lot of your HP away, so exceL are going to have to watch out for that once they're inevitably forced back out of this river.
And of course, immediately after this game, ladies and gentlemen, the match of the week here in the LEC, Origin versus Vitality, will be coming your way. Nuke and Cabo on your screen and see how they step up. Right now, Dark Binding will pop Special's spell shield, but he'll be able to escape for now. The Banshees, look at that damage onto Jeskla. Paranoia's been used defensively by Caedral and Misfits. They're on the hunt. Flash over the wall. There's the Cataclysm from sOAZ's Sylas. He manages to catch Caedral, continues to chase forward. The Whirling Death will pop the GA. Misfits will land yet another Dark Binding. Febiven cannot find himself a kill, and nobody from exceL dies.
And now exceL, specifically Caedral, is so chunked out now the Misfits can actually walk over here towards the Baron. Keep in mind, they did take some damage themselves, and exeL have an entrance in towards the Baron pit, but there's no jungler here for exeL. This one could go down.
All right, Special does have an ultimate available if he can find a target. Here comes expeC. He gets a Cataclysm follow-up from kaSing in the hero's entrance. Febiven goes over the wall, but he's got no targets to find. kaSing gets the taunt. This is the fight that exeL needed. That's 2 quick kills at the cost of Special's life. There will be another one onto sOAZ. Febiven's trying to do what he can, but he can't get through the CC. He can't get through the taunt. He gets one into kaSing. Finally, Febi goes down. Baron is stopped and exeL are back.
exeL take the 4v5 and they slam Misfits inside the Baron pit. Now it's their turn to start up this objective, and with no teleport on towards sOAZ, there is nothing that he or the rest of Misfits can do to stop exeL from taking down this objective.
Unbelievable turn of events and a fantastic team fight that just brings all of the life back to the plucky underdogs. That feels real bad. That feels real bad. And that's, of course, the member that you really don't want to watch. Oh, no! What is happening? All of a sudden, now there's Caedral running for his life. Hunsummer's teleported in. He's got one. Jeskla died as well. sOAZ gets a solo kill. Just as quickly as we celebrate, we trip and hit ourselves in the head with cake.
Trevor, they just lost all of their Baron buffs right there. They got nothing for that.
They got the gold, and that is it. They're going to lose the mid inhibitor turret, and they're going to lose the top turret as well. Mid-inner turret, correction. And just like that, I mean, oh man, the excitement, the chaos, the energy, it ends up costing exeL. Special's going to take his blue buff, and that's just about it.
I mean, just look at sOAZ up here in the top lane. There's no one that can answer him currently. exeL going to have to bring 3 members up here just to stop him from taking that turret down. But you see Hunsama go right in!
Oh my word, Hunsama takes the unleashed power to the face, doesn't even care. Bloodthirster shield really stacking up high and helping him out, and the base has now just about been broken open. 6 towers to Misfits.
So as we sort of step back now, because I mean the last 5 minutes have been absolute chaos here for exeL, you have to focus. How do you win a team fight? And it's you have to kill Hunsama. And the start they try to do it, but the Zhonya's comes in, and then the Black Shield is late on kaSing's taunt. Beautiful play there from kaSing to sort of lock down the Misfits AD carry. And once Draven is out of these fights, it becomes very difficult for this squad to sort of go toe-to-toe, especially when they've been getting beaten on by that Baron buff. So remember, exeL, it's all about assassinating Draven and not letting Jeskla die to the Baron.
Oh, so difficult to watch. sOAZ just runs up. The TP Draven comes in for a cleanup kill, and this really, really hurts to see.
Exactly, and they killed the Baron buff before Galio and Syndra respawn. So you have Baron on 2 members because Jeskla died, expeC dies there, Caedral died before, now they go in.
Well, we're straight into another fight. exeL are not done yet. They're trying to get something back. They will get themselves a GA pop, but it's just a kill into Gorilla. True Shot Barrage comes out. Misfits are on the retreat. Just like that, exeL are trying to fight back. Caedral goes down. sOAZ stays alive a few seconds longer. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to ask a question. Will exeL Esports win this game? Jump into chat and spam yes or no right now. exeL are gonna find themselves just some more pressure. Yes or no in chat. We're gonna find out the answer in a moment.
And the answer is an outstanding yes if they can continue to kill Hunsama in these fights. The man's got no flash. He loses the GA in that exchange, and now it's exeL's turn to take down all of these turrets to get more and more gold onto Jeskla, who is popping off.
31 kills in 30 minutes. exeL give and take. We're gonna head 4 behind. And if you guys are watching at home on Twitch or YouTube, spam in chat yes or no, will exeL win? The game is as even as it's gonna get gold-wise. We've got another crazy replay, which started when we were in a replay.
Yeah, we have to see how this happens. Look, it's the 2 carries of Misfits too far forward. Febiven can get out because guess what? You're playing LeBlanc, but Draven has absolutely no chance here for Hunsama. And exeL just show up. They see the opportunity to go right on in. They lead with Caedral and then expect sort of slam dunk right on down and get 3 kills in that exchange.
It has been a wild ride today in the LEC, and the fans at home are getting behind exeL. 64% of the vote saying yes, they will win. A little bit of recency bias in that action replay most likely, but it is something that exceL have done. They got ahead early, they've bounced back from the mistakes, and maybe they are now in control of the Rift.
And I mean, I think all the fans right now are looking at these team compositions because do you favor a heavy team fight comp that can dive an immobile AD carry Hansama, or do you favor this comp that wants to play a little bit more slowly, have sOAZ and Febiven poking around in these fights? That's way harder to play.
What do you favor, Froskurinn? Because it sounds like you're on board the exceL hype train.
I'm on board the exceL hype train. I think if they can continue to kill Hansama, that's all that matters. Dive him, kill him in these fights, and you're absolutely going to win. Also, Jeskla is so strong right now. He went for the Sorks as well, so his magic damage is just going to be cutting through Misfits.
Got the Gunblade as well. Archangel's completed. Muramana, Iceborne, Gauntlet. We're starting to get to complete builds for some of the primary carries. Rapid Fire Cannon picked up for Hansama at 31 minutes to complement his IEBT as well as the GA. And now exceL are pushing into the mid lane. Whirling Death just to try and clear the wave, but look at the engage! exceL pull the trigger! He's dead! The low mobility Draven! They've killed him before Febiven can start his recall. That's another one onto sOAZ. The fans at home believed in exceL and they're about to take the inhibitor.
exceL can go right on in whenever they want. Febiven wasn't with the rest of the team, and exceL found the opening to get right in there. Caedral expects the combo is just deadly.
10,000 simulations at 50-50 odds give exceL only 10 scenarios at making it into playoffs, and it only stays alive if they win this game right here, right now.
Jeskla's dead!
exceL lose Jeskla! Febiven returns! He manages to pick up one kill. exceL need to back away. They're very low. Febiven's gonna threaten a follow-up engage, and just as it looks like exceL are about to do it, they have to back away.
A look of pain on the face of Jeskla as he gets sniped out right there by Febiven. Febiven putting some stacks down on the Mejais. He absolutely wants to take this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans of the LEC, grab your family, grab your friends, because this game is heating up and it is not done yet.
How does this happen? Well, the answer is they just press their buttons. They go right on in there. Galio, Nocturne, Jarvan, all layered on top of each other because they know Hansama has zero chance of escaping from that engage. That is the punish of the first pick, Draven, but then they get a little greedy. They overstay and Febiven's able to get the pick on towards Jeskla and get control over the Baron buff.
Caedral will have Paranoia up before Baron is secured. Special is nowhere near the team, but that's two members that are going to be able to catch out Febiven. He's running for his life. Baron's going so low. Febiven escapes. True Shot Barrage is late, and Misfits, they sneak the Baron from under exceL's nose.
The pick onto Jeskla was so pivotal. Misfits know he is dead. Special is in the side lane, and they have those two Mountain Drakes from earlier. They crushed through that Baron buff, and now once again, I'd love to see a vote because it's Misfits with complete control.
Okay, we'll have to find out. So you're asking for the other side? Because we haven't prepped production.
I mean, I'm telling you that right now, if we voted, the fans would be saying it's time for Misfits to win this game. They have control over the map. They have the Baron buff. They're going to look for another Mountain Drake and try to fight back against this exceL composition, because I got news for you, Trevor.
Yes.
Hansama, he has his flash. His Guardian Angel is coming up very, very soon. If he can survive the initial engage, Misfits can win out.
Oh, if he can survive the initial engage. Caedral and kaSing have made sure that has not happened. The last few fights, Caedral and kaSing, the two British guys on exceL. kaSing, the captain, we mentioned it earlier. Late game calling and decision making. He bears that responsibility, but it is up to expeC and Caedral to find the targets, that dive buddy combo, and obliterate Hansama, but he's got that G up, as you mentioned.
Exactly, and if you're a Misfits fan, you get concerned when you see them split up into the 1-3-1. Right now you have Febiven top lane, sOAZ bottom lane, and you know exceL have all the tools to immediately force an engagement. So Misfits have to play so carefully here around exceL's ability to just force the fight.
And the problem here for exceL is they cannot make more mistakes in their shot calling or positioning on the Rift. Yes, they have supers in the mid lane that'll buy exceL some time, but against triple Mountain Drakes and all of the damage dealers on the side of Misfits, it is so easy for them to kill towers, to kill Elder, to kill a Baron, and that means that there's no room for error, no mistakes in vision, no decision making in terms of who goes to which lane.
It's so true, and Misfits, they have sort of two things on their mind right now. One is, how much can we get with the remaining duration of the Baron buff? Because they only have about a minute and a half left. The other is, if we can't break the base, or we can't end the game off this buff, which is more than likely, stall out for the Elder Dragon. stall out for the next Baron buff coming up, because if you can maintain control, especially around this area of the jungle where Misfits are perched right now, they can just continue to push in, force down these towers, because exceL are going to be forced to go in, and it's very, very difficult.
6-1 and 2. Febiven is pushing into this top tower. 12 stacks on the Medjais. Hansama 6-4 and 4. He's pushing into the mid lane, and sOAZ 2-3 and 8. He's down in the bottom lane. Teleports up for sOAZ and Hansama. They're pushing back on those supers, and Febiven alone opens up exeL's base.
He gets the tower. Very well done from him. And exeL, they have to make a call. Where do you attack? Do you attack a side lane for an easy kill, or do you attack the central mass of the Misfits composition? They go bot, they get the kill!
They've got themselves a kill into sOAZ. Here comes the paranoia. That's onto Gorilla. He's running for his life, but Febiven's going to take the inhibitor in the top lane. Gorilla will buy some more time. He goes golden, and Febi continues to put some pressure onto the Nexus turrets. Now, Baron will be wearing off in 20 seconds. And this is a very difficult, precarious situation, because supers will be top, pushing into exeL's base.
Exactly, and exeL, they might just want to take this minion wave in the mid lane. 35 seconds on sOAZ and Gorilla. I don't think they can hard force down this mid lane. There's still 3 members of Misfits alive. The rest of their members are going to be coming up soon in the mid. Oh, he goes in!
Oh, take a look at that! Febiven doesn't find the target. He flashes over the wall, but here comes exceL. Cataclysm comes down. kaSing follows on. That's 3 members of Misfits down. There's no flash on Hansama, and Caedral, how did you stay alive?
He lives with just a sliver right there. The whirling death, not quite enough, but it's Febiven who goes for a hero play, dies for his play, but in the end, it's enough to delay the base kill from exeL.
And the next game is match of the week, and we were wrong. This is the match of the week, because exeL is just delivering 21 kills in 37 minutes. They have been behind in gold for a fair amount of this game, but they are finding crucial picks earlier in the game, which has set up the push.
Oh man, Febiven tries his best, but Caedral has the spell shield, and he doesn't respect that fact. And he doesn't want to give him a chance to escape this fight, but look at all the ultimates they used to actually center down and finish off that kill. It meant with the members respawning on Misfits, they weren't comfortable with even the 5v4.
All right, so exeL's composition's easy to understand. It needs to obliterate the Febiven or the Hansama or the sOAZ with that shotgun approach. Then, with the numbers advantage, win the rest of the team fight. We have Elder and Baron spawning in sync, so decision-making will be key. What does Misfits have to do in this late game at 40 minutes to win the game?
Well, they're going to be looking to control these objectives, and specifically the Elder Dragon. When you have 4 elementals at your disposal, that thing hurts so bad right now. They can even decide to trade the objectives, but honestly, with the power that sOAZ has in the side lane, with their ability to now walk into the top river and sort of clear out jungle, I would like to see Misfits maybe play a bit slower, see if you can sneak off 1 member to solo away the Elder Dragon, because you have so many mountains, you can take it down pretty quickly and do it by yourself, or just look at the picks here if you are sOAZ, because Misfits have control over the map.
Cataclysm is very, very important in a potential team fight. With sOAZ sitting on that Cataclysm, hijacked away from exceL. 30 seconds on both objectives, as you've alluded to. Neither team's got the setup, but Misfits with the early vision means they are in advantage of the next few minutes.
Exactly, and with the super minions going top lane, it makes it even more pivotal to focus on this Elder Dragon. You know members of exeL have to sort of stop these waves from pushing in. You can see right now it's kaSing and Jeskla on tag team duty to try and do it. But look at the minimap. There's so many wards here for exceL to look for a flank, to look for that perfect engage now on towards Hansama. Or they can just trade these objectives, which is going to be in favor of Misfits.
Okay, super minions in the top lane in favor of Misfits. Teleport is already being channeled by Jeskla, and sOAZ is pushing into the base. Elder Dragon is already secured, picked up by Misfits. Baron is still alive. Misfits have the opportunity to steal it. Teleport is now coming in from sOAZ. Paranoia to buy some time. Baron is picked up.
sOAZ is on the top. He has the Cataclysm. He's going to look for Jeskla.
He's going to look for a target. That's a 3-man Cataclysm, and he manages to stay alive. The GA will bring him back up. Here comes Hansana chasing all the way forward. Febiven is going to find 1. That's another for Maxlore. Misfits aren't done yet. They're looking for kaSing. Caedral and Jeskla are running for their lives. Misfits may have just done it. They get themselves Elder. They get themselves the ace. They will get themselves the win.
Misfits take everything, and they have the minions here as well. Hansama teleports into the bottom lane after destroying exeL in that team fight, and they have nothing but the victory set in their eyes.
It is a heartbreaking defeat for exeL Esports. With this loss, They are eliminated from playoff contention. And exceL were on the verge of their first 2-0 week. Right now, today, Misfits take the win over exceL. That is not the look of celebration on the faces of Misfits Gaming. They will be content with the win, but it is not celebration because that man on your screen, except and exceL, they made them work for that.
Oh man, exceL looked like they were gonna do it. They took down the mid lane inhibitor. So many very close opportunities to turning that game, but it was Misfits now with a cold analytical approach after finishing this game that were eventually able to set up the team fight after picking up the Elder Dragon. They knew they had the trump card. They had the scaling when they could pick up that objective, and they were able to get that beautiful flank by sOAZ to shut down and finish off the Gale.
What a turn of events. What a game. And you know what I love about games like this?
What do you love?
You and I get carried away. We get to have a lot of fun. We get to celebrate in-game. But when we finish it and we get to discuss the implications, what it means, you see Misfits now congratulating exceL and trying to understand in the playoff race how close, how competitive exceL looked this weekend. But it was just a little too late into spring. And huge question marks for Misfits and their potential strength looking forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the thing. I feel like a lot of our teams have had this sort of mid-season dive, and now they're trying to pick themselves back up and make it on in there. Unfortunately for exceL, again, it was a little bit too little, too late for them, but for Misfits, they are still finding the wins that they need. They are still very much in that playoff picture, but as you get forward to week 8, week 9, those quarterfinals, you need to have better play. You need to have top-notch play and not look like you're almost going to fall down to a team like exceL.
Misfits Gaming are now 7 wins, 7 losses. You can see Hussein having a chat to the players. Misfits are tied in the standings with Fnatic, with SK, with Schalke. But crucially, Misfits have got the head-to-head of Fnatic 1-0, the head-to-head over SK 2-0. And these are going to be very, very pivotal as we get closer to week 9, as we get closer to the race for playoffs. But man, I just feel so heartbroken for exceL because there was so many moments where it just felt like they had this game.
Oh, they absolutely did. I mean, they had the composition that could just go in and force on towards Hans Sama, and it worked 2, 3, 4 times during that game. But you then had hero performances from the rest of Misfits to hold on, from sOAZ on the Sylas, from Febiven just delaying the inevitable push from exceL into their base. That delay gave room for Hans Sama to eventually step up and be the carry Misfits needed him to be.
Keep getting glimpses of Febiven playing to strengths that we haven't seen for several years, you know, showing up when he needs to. I can tell you right now, by the way, that the whole time we've been chatting, I can actually still see both Hans Sama and Gorilla, as well as Hussein Pumandu on stage, busy chatting, discussing the game, because boy, there's a lot to talk about. Look, we do have to just look at least one replay. I believe it's going to be the final fight here. We'll pull that up onto your screen and just talk about sOAZ. He had the Cataclysm, and it was enough disruption to help Misfits win.
Yeah, it was a great flank here, and the key thing for Misfits is that when they're the ones initiating, no one can touch Hans Sama. This man is full HP with a black shield on top of him. There's going to be no stopping this guy, and you have Febiven also on the flank making all the plays happen. And honestly, it's a 4-for-1 fight right there. So nicely done for Misfits because, again, they had the advantage of that Elder Dragon backing them up.
They absolutely did. A quick update, we will be joined by Misfits coach Hussein Mousvi for picks and bans ahead of our match of the week. That's after the break. And of course, if Origin lose, we have 5 teams tied at 7-7. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is insanely exciting how close the race for playoffs is. Hold that thought. Key player of the game at LoL Esports, so it's Febiven, Hans Sama, go.
I was going to say, you know, you might be able to say every game counts, Trevor.
I'm so proud of you. It makes me so happy when the young ones learn. How do you vote for player of the game?
Not easily.
Okay.
I think actually I would go sOAZ. I think his early game impact, all of those roams to mid lane were really what put Misfits in a position to get the win, and then the flank at the end really set them up for the victory.
Well, I think I'm going with Febiven because he's sitting by with Laure to be interviewed.
Thank you very much, Trevor, and thank you, Febiven, for joining me. Oh, wow, that looked messy from you guys. I mean, I saw Hussein talking to you after the game. You looked pretty serious. What did he tell you?
Sorry, what was the question?
What did Hussein tell you after the game?
I mean, he told us that, you know, we all played pretty bad individually and we really have to step it up and we have to play even more solo queue and, you know, review our games better. And he also told us that we stayed pretty calm in the game, so that was good. So just some positive and, you know, enforcing feedback.
Positive and negatives, and you won in the end. I wonder, though, that was a messy game from you guys, and I feel like you had the draft to take it sooner. I mean, having Sylas, LeBlanc, first picking Draven. What went wrong in the game for you guys to take so long to grab the win?
I mean, there was just a lot of like individual mistakes and, you know, bad calls that led to us being behind. Like the Herald call, you know, we died 3 people, and even like level 1 we died, I think. So yeah, I think we just had a pretty bad start and we actually did a good job coming back. But I feel in general our games are pretty messy. It's not only this one, it's kind of disappointing.
We talked about this before. We know like you're kind of an all-star team. Do you feel like you maybe have so much strong voices in the team that it makes it hard for you to decide who can take the call at the right time?
Well, you would think that our team has like a lot of voices, like strong voices, but in the game we don't really actually. Like, so it's still difficult for us, you know, to make the right calls. And obviously it's different in the different stages of the game, because I feel like in the mid-late game we know what to do pretty well, but in the early game we're still figuring it out, you know, and it just depends on the game state basically. So I would say in the early game we're struggling, but mid-late we are for the veterans, you know.
You're popping off, and we can see the stats behind you and in front of you on the screen. I gotta ask, the playoff race is what counts the most right now, and looking at the schedule you have ahead of you, you're gonna be facing Fnatic, who's performing better now, Schalke, who's underperforming, Splyce, who's, well, basically doing Splyce things, and G2, who looks unbeatable except of today. So what do you think about your schedule so far to make it to playoff?
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard. Like, we're 7-7 right now, you know, and the last 4 games really matter, and we're actually playing against good opponents, you know. So right now, you know, it just depends how hard how much do we really want it, you know. Like, we are not even secured into playoffs, maybe when everyone thought we would be, but like, we have to, you know, step it up even more, and we've been showing a really bad performance at least the last weeks, and really inconsistent. So the last 2 weeks and the preparation to playoffs, hopefully if we get there, has to be way better, because we are basically not good right now, you know. I mean, I don't want to go into playoffs knowing we are not going to be the best team, you know, because why do you go to playoffs when you know that when you're not the best team, you know, then you're just going to lose eventually, right? So that will feel even worse.
Feels pretty negative listening to you. I'm really sorry to hear that. And the worst part is, you know what's going wrong with the team. So how do you fix this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, everyone is kind of underperforming, and I feel like we have mindsets that need to be really improved, but yeah, we're kind of struggling, and just individual play and mindset is just lacking right now. And we got the win today. It's 7-7, you know. It's fine. Like, I have hope, you know. Everyone has hope. It's just gonna be, we just need to be really strict with ourselves going forward, because else we're not going to win, you know. And
find another mindset. I wish you good luck on that, and thank you very much for your insights. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be match of the week, Vitality versus Origin. Stay tuned, guys.
Oh man, exceL, they want Gorilla.
Dun 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 dun! Gorilla gets caught out! Defensive flash already! Somebody heal has been used. Gorilla's running for his life. Mystic shot! Paranoia to deny some vision, and we've got ourselves a fight. Hunt Summer's down in the bottom lane though. He's pushing for the tower. Not gonna be enough for a kill. Maxlore's able to escape. Oh, the flag! Dread dunk!
Syndra ulti. We win this, Steven. We win this.
Syndra,
Penta.
Let me.
I'm gonna kill this guy. There's no ulting Penta.
Beshil does have an ultimate available if he can find a target. Here comes Expect. He gets a Cataclysm follow-up from kaSing on the hero's entrance. Febiven goes over the wall, but he's got no targets to find. kaSing gets the taunt! This is the fight fight that exeL needed. Whirling dip just to try and clear the wave, but look at the engage. exeL pull the trigger. He's dead. The low mobility Draven. They've killed him before Febiven can start his recall. If they win this game right here, right now,
Jeskala's dead.
exeL lose Jeskla. And the GA will bring him back up. Here comes Hansana chasing all the way forward. Febiven is going to find one. That's another for Maxlore. Misfits aren't done yet. They're looking for kaSing. Caedral and Jeskla running for their lives. Misfits may have just done it. They get themselves Elder. Right now, today, Misfits take the win over exeL.
We are powered up.
Get the Baron buff power play with shell V-Power.